Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you're here for another week of What's for Dinner. I'm going to show you in this video some things we've had around here lately that are very delicious, have a lot of flavor, but aren't real labor intensive. And that's what we all need in the summertime, am I right? Especially not heating up the oven. So in today's video, you're going to see probably 4 or 5 different meals that we've had that have been delicious. One did require the oven because I made a really special dinner for my husband James in celebration of our 31st anniversary. So that's gonna be towards the end of the video. I hope you get inspiration, just some ideas maybe of things that you can have around your house. And if you have not subscribed yet to my channel, I would love for you to hit the subscribe and stick around for all the fun. All right guys, let's get into the video. Well, I've pulled out my Gooseberry Patch Sunday Dinner at Grandma's cookbook, and I have found several recipes in here that I want to try, and so I picked out 4 of them. And today I am making the Savory Salisbury steak. Now, I'm going to pause right here and tell you about a mistake I made. You're supposed to divide the can of soup in half and add water to it, and that's what you cook it in after the meat is all fried up. Well, I added the water in with my ground beef, but let me just tell you that these were the best Salisbury steaks we've ever had, and from now on I will make that same mistake. They were so moist and tender, delicious. So it was a mistake, but it turned out in our favor. All right, let's get into the recipe. Okay, a couple more things before I get started. The recipe calls for 1.5 pounds of ground beef. I'm using 2 pounds. And then it calls for a can of mushroom soup, golden mushroom soup. I'm using the French onion because that's what I had. Also today, I had 3 of my little grandsons here with me, and my youngest one that was here today, Finley, he's 2. He's in the kitchen with me, and he is talking and saying the sweetest things. And I wanted to leave some of those clips in here because it's just precious. And so I hope you enjoy those. And I'll have all the recipes down below, mine and the original. I love you. Okay, I added in 1/2 cup of the soup, which makes, I love you, which makes 3/4 of a cup. It's a half can of the soup. And then since I am adding 1/2 pound more of the ground beef than what it calls for, I am going to, instead of just 1.5, let's see, 1/3 cup of water, I'm adding in 2/3 cup of water. I love you. Gotta put 1 egg in there. One egg. I gotta do some salt.
The salt.
Some salt.
We like salt.
You do?
Yeah.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too.
Me too. Watch out, Gigi.
Pepper.
Pepper.
All those little sweet Gigi, I love you. Those were just melting my heart. Okay, so I'm working on my onion here, and he is still jabbering away, but I wanted to tell you what I did there. So you can see the recipe called for 1/2 can of soup into the mixture, and then your other 1/2 can of soup and your 1/3 cup water gets mixed together, and after the meat is all fried up, that's kind of the gravy that you cook it in. Well, I added in 1/2 can of soup, and instead of 1/3 cup water, I added in 2/3 cup water. It is amazing these things even held together. But I'm telling you, that I know is what made these so moist and delicious. They were like, oh my goodness, I could just, they were so good. So I don't necessarily know that I would add 2/3 cup of water again to 2 pounds, but I would definitely add in at least 1/3 cup of water. But like I said, these were perfect. Now I'm going to go in here with my breadcrumbs. Those are just some, it's just some leftover bread that I had that I ground up and made my own breadcrumbs, and I keep those in the freezer. So I added in here just a little bit more than what it called for as well, since I had the 2 pounds of ground beef. Me too, baby. You are such a sweet baby. Are you helping me cook?
Yes, help me. I'll help you. I'll put some milk.
Let me see. Where's Finley? There you are. Are you helping me cook?
Yeah.
What are you cooking?
Chicken music.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it going to be good? Say Salisbury steak.
Yes.
Salisbury steak. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Think it looks good? You're so cute. So now it's time to get this thing all mixed up, and so I am using my little handy dandy twist and chop, I think it's called. I use this thing for a lot of different things in the kitchen, and so I'm using that for the preliminary mix here just to make sure everything is incorporated. Okay, I got all 3 helpers in the kitchen today. What's your name, little boy?
Sure.
What's your name, little boy? Who? Tell me again. You're standing so tall. Is your name Finley? Are you having some oranges? And what's your name?
My name's Henry James Pennington.
Henry James Pennington. So I have 3 helpers in the kitchen today. Grandson number 1, 2, and 3. The only one we're missing is number 4, which is Courage, huh? Oh.
And he's been hugging me so much today.
He's been hugging me so much today. You guys are wild boys. We'll see if Gigi can get dinner pulled off tonight, huh? Say bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, dude. Hello.
Can you see yourself, Fishy?
Bye-bye.
These patties came together so quickly. There's very few ingredients, and so I've just got a preheated skillet here. I had fried some bacon up earlier for the little boys for breakfast. I just wiped out the bacon grease, and I'm just going to use the same skillet and get these all fried up. So, like I said, it came together real quick, very few ingredients on these patties, and I don't think I'll use another recipe ever. These were so good, and you can see they are holding together, but they're definitely moist from the half a can of the soup and the water that I added in by mistake. But I just let these brown up on both sides, took them out of the pan, added in the additional half a can of soup and the water that I was supposed to have added, originally, and put that into the pan, mix it together, and let these continue to kind of simmer in that gravy. As you all can see, I definitely make mistakes in the kitchen. Things don't always turn out right, but in this case, it did. I made a mistake, but it turned out into my favor. I highly recommend this recipe, and I recommend adding a little bit of water in there like I did for some really, really tender, juicy Salisbury steak. And I just served it with some fresh sweet corn that was really sweet and delicious, and some homemade mashed potatoes. And that was dinner for tonight. All right, moving on to another night's dinner. We had some fresh zucchini and squash from our son Gunner and Abigail's garden. And so we love, love, love fried zucchini and squash around here. But I'm trying a new method where you hold the zucchini in your hand and rotate it as you're cutting slices. And so instead of having round, perfect, whole zucchini slices, you kind of get these little half slices. And then I just toss it in flour, no egg this time around, just flour, and into some hot olive oil in my pan. And it actually works out really well. It's a lot different than frying them in individual single round slices, which is how I've done it my whole life. I saw this on Mama Mel's channel, and I think she said she had seen it on someone's channel and decided to give it a try. And so I like it. It makes it much quicker, that's for sure. I just used some Lowry's seasoning salt this time around, which is also not something that I do, but it was really good, and some black pepper. And so the benefit to this is what you see now. Instead of having all those individual pieces, you just kind of toss it around, kind of like when you're doing like fried okra. I don't like turn every little tiny individual piece of okra. You just toss it in the pan and fry it. And so that's kind of what this is, and it actually works out really well. I mean, you can see here, very crispy. Now there's some pieces maybe not as crispy as others, just depending on where they are in the frying pan, but it's so much quicker. So I like this method. And then James grilled, these are brown sugar pork chops. It's Italian dressing and brown sugar marinade, and then you just grill them. They are so, so good. I think I've showed these on my channel before. I'm not completely sure. But that was our quick and easy dinner tonight. Just the fried squash and zucchini and those grilled pork chops. And I know they look almost like they're burnt. They're not. They're just a little darker on camera. But another really good meal tonight. Hey everyone. Tonight's dinner. We're going 2 different things tonight. So I did not show making this fried rice because I just showed this on my channel. I can link that below. This one, although is very different than I made the other night. Not very, but it's different. So I had a chicken breast on the bone that I did in the crock pot. I did 2 of them. I used one for a different recipe. And then so I needed to use that chicken. And then James had made some jasmine rice in our rice cooker and had been eating on that, just plain white rice, and I needed to use the rest of that. So he said he wanted some fried rice. So I just pulled the chicken off the bone. I sauteed up the veggies, which this time I just used zucchini and white onion, and put in the rice, the chicken, sesame oil, some butter, just the typical fried rice, and then sprinkled green onions on the top. So that is what he wanted. So for myself, I am making something different. I'm going to show you that real quick. I just thought I would tell you what the fried rice was when you're going to see it there thinking, okay, what's that? So what I am making tonight, it's called ham barbecue sandwiches, ham barbecues. I saw this recipe on Kristen Stepp's channel about a month or so ago. I'll have her video linked below. I'm sure most all of you have seen her What's for Dinner videos. They are wonderful. This one just I thought was so interesting and so easy. So the recipe said use super fine shaved deli ham. So that's what I have here. So I'm going to plop it in my little kettle and just, I mean, it's very fine shaved, which is how I love shaved ham. I just tell them I want it shaved, falling apart, and this is what it is. It's fabulous. So just making sure this is all broken up down in the pan. And then the recipe where I am deviating, it calls for making your own barbecue sauce from scratch. Well, I'm not going to do that. I have plenty of barbecue and I like the barbecue I have. And you guys, this is it. Ham and barbecue sauce. And they're called ham barbecues. How cool is that? I just thought that was so interesting. I wanted to try it. So I'm going to get my barbecue sauce in here and I'm just going to let this simmer on low until we're ready to eat. And then I'll show you, I'm going to do something a little fun with my buns to serve this on with the bun. At least it's just me eating this. So I'll show you that in just a second. I'm going to get the barbecue on. Okay, this is what I'm going to use. It's this Kinder's Cali Gold, and it is really good. This is the first bottle we've bought. It's not quite halfway gone. We really have enjoyed this. So I'm going to pour this on. I don't want it swimming in the sauce. You can always add more. That probably looks pretty good. Let's see if this tells the flavor notes for this. No, it's definitely got some mustard in it though, so I think it's more that style, like a mustard based. It is really good. All right, so the barbecue is in. I don't even have my kettle on yet. I'm just I'm not quite ready to eat. So I will put this on low, but I'm kind of seeing here what we've got. Oh wow, smells good already. And of course, once it gets warmed, the sauce will thin out a little bit. I do think it needs a bit more though. Okay, that's good. So that was maybe 1/3 cup of barbecue sauce, if I'm guessing. Okay, so here we have it. And I'm gonna put it on low and let it start simmering up. Now you might recognize these buns and this ham actually from last week's What's for Dinner. I used the buns for the cube steak sandwiches and the ham I had on the sub sandwiches. So this is just a way to continue using things that you have. And so I thought I would just do something a little extra special for these buns. I'm going to butter them up and put on some garlic salt. And actually it's just garlic powder, and then I'm going to put some shredded cheese on there and put this in the air fryer for just a minute or so, long enough to get this cheese to melt and the buns to be just a little bit more crispy and firm, and then I'm going to top it with the ham. This was really tasty, you guys. So quick and easy to pull together, and just different type of sandwich. I think this would be a fun way to serve, like, say, appetizers and use some of the slider buns. This would really be good to serve like that. I just served it with some leftover macaroni and cheese. I'll definitely be making this again. It's just something different that I had never heard of, and I really enjoyed it. All right, moving on to another night, I took these sweet Italian sausages out of the freezer, let them thaw out, and then in my skillet here, I've just got some olive oil. I'm going to brown these up until they get a brown sear on all sides, and then I'm going to add water and steam them until they're done. When they were almost done, I cut up some of those mini sweet peppers and threw them in and let those steam up along with the sausages. And then I made a meat sauce with just ground beef, cooked my pasta sauce in there, let it simmer together, and cooked up some penne pasta for just a quick and easy Italian dinner. So we've got the sausages, the pasta, and a big salad along the side. This was a really yummy night's meal. And we've had a big celebration around here, 31 years of marriage. Cannot believe it. James brought me home these gorgeous, gorgeous sunflowers. And the same day, I made a delicious dinner for our whole family, some of James' favorites. So I baked a big spiral brown sugar ham. And then for a sauce for the ham, I did just a little bit of brown sugar. I put in about 2 tablespoons of crushed pineapple with a little bit of the juice and a little bit of apple cider. And I let that simmer together and poured that all over the ham. It was so delicious. And then I made his favorite potatoes that his mom used to make always when he was at home. It's a family favorite for all of us. I just did some little crescent rolls in the oven. And then I did a sweet potato casserole and some delicious baked beans and then some deviled eggs. Those aren't out. This was such a feast. This was actually the day before our anniversary. So it was just a way to celebrate with his favorite foods and with our kids. And then the day of our anniversary, we had a delicious dinner out. Check out this filet. This was James' dinner. It was over mashed potatoes and some crispy onions. And then I was in the mood for a burger. I had a smash burger, which was one of their specialty burgers, and fries. So delicious, and I'm so happy for 31 years together with my very best friend.
I hope you enjoyed today's video, you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll have another one next week. I have grocery hauls up every week as well, if you like those, and then just a little smattering of other things in between, some travel videos and things like that. I hope you're enjoying it. I appreciate every time you're here, and I'll see you guys the next time. Good Lord willing, and the creek don't rise.